This short video, mainly for drivers, looks at the recent changes in the Highway Code, which came into effect in January 2022. The main changes are listed here. We're going to have a look at hierarchy of road users, priority at junctions, safe passing distances, and safely opening doors. The hierarchy itself puts those road users, such as pedestrians, that are most likely to be injured right at the top. At the other end are the drivers of the larger vehicles that are likely to do the most damage in a collision. These drivers will have the greatest responsibility. We'll start with safely opening vehicle doors. The Highway Code now advises that people driving and passengers should open the door using their hand furthest away. This means we have to turn in the seat, and we are more likely then to see the cyclists coming past, or indeed the pedestrians walking past on the pavement. Now, before we move on, it's important to talk about some of the terminology in the Highway Code. You'll notice that some of the rules start with must or must not. Now, these are legal requirements, so if you go against these rules, you're breaking the law and therefore open to prosecution. The other rules start with should or should not, or sometimes do or do not. This is just guidance to best practice. However, if you should go against that guidance, you leave yourself open to prosecution for driving without due care and attention. So it's illegal to drive without due care and attention, or without reasonable consideration for other road users. This picture illustrates some of the new guidance in the Highway Code, which says drivers should give way to pedestrians waiting to cross at a junction. This is no different for many careful and considerate drivers that have always been ready to give way to pedestrians, but now puts the emphasis on all drivers to drive with due care and attention where pedestrians are involved. Here the blue car is intending to turn left into the side street, with pedestrians crossing from each side. Eye contact is very important, so the man with the white shirt in the wheelchair has good eye contact with the driver, whereas the lady in the yellow top crossing does not have good eye contact. It should be remembered that it's not a legal requirement to wait for these pedestrians to cross, but it is saying that we should approach this with due care and attention and be ready to wait for them to cross. As we know, in some instances, pedestrians prefer the vehicle to carry on round. They feel safer. So it's quite acceptable for us to do that if that's the situation. But if we do decide to carry on round without waiting, we must ensure we do it with due care and attention and don't put the pedestrians at any risk whatsoever. I also want to point out that if the pedestrian is not crossing when we wait for them, we should never try and beckon them, flash our lights or anything to encourage them to cross. This is because it can mislead. It can tell the pedestrian it's safe when maybe we haven't seen another vehicle approaching, and it can cause confusion. So we should always avoid flashing lights or beckoning pedestrians to cross. We should just be ready for them to cross, hold back, make it obvious what our intentions are, and if they're obviously happy for us, then we should continue round carefully and get out of their way. Of course, these new hierarchy rules don't just apply to pedestrians, they apply to all vulnerable road users, such as horse riders. But next, we're going to look at the rules specifically aimed at keeping cyclists safe on the road. There are also recommendations about safe passing distances. The recommendation for pedestrians is that you allow at least 2 meters and keep to a very low speed. For cyclists, it says at least 1.5 meters at speeds of up to 30 miles an hour, and above that, more space. And for horse riders or horse drawn carriages, at least 2 meters and keep to around 10 miles an hour. It should be pointed out before we finish that cyclists are now advised in the Highway Code to cycle in the centre of a lane under certain circumstances, one of these being as they go past a junction. This makes them more visible and safer.